Welcome back to the 52 Weeks to Wealth. This is Wealth Principle 31, which means we've been traveling through the wealth principles for the last 31 weeks on our way to getting more money and doing it with less work. Hence the care if you want to make more money this year and do it with less effort. Anybody in the room looking for that? Excellent. We're also here seeking to double our income and double our net worth. Now, most people, when I say I double my income and double my net worth every single year, they think, what are you, robbing people? Is it something illegal? So let me clarify. We must, everything we do must be moral, ethical, and legal. That way, it actually works. You actually get to keep the money. So Wealth Principle 31 is when setting sales goals, go for no. When setting sales goals, go for no. This wealth principle was designed to get you to the next level when you're seeking to increase income. Again, by show of hands, who here is seeking to increase income? A lot of us. It looks like everybody on the call is actually looking to seek to increase income. Now, the reason we're doing that is because we live in an economical world. We live in a world where money is required to give you the things that you want. In order to feel like the person that you deserve being, you have to have money. In order to go to a vacation, fly on a plane, to buy that vehicle or clothe yourself or provide food for your family, shelter for your family, you're going to require having this economic paper, this asset. Hence, camera fit, you are aware it is paper. It is just, slices of trees. So when they say it doesn't grow on trees, that's actually a lie. It does. And it's abundant. There is so much of it out there. I'm going to share my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you see it on the screen. Can you see Wealth Principle 31? Excellent. So Wealth Principle 31, if you're taking notes, is when setting sales goals, go for no. We're going to go through the 5 levels of failure today. I'm going to talk about failure because that is essentially what stops people from moving forward. There's 2 things that people are afraid of more than anything else. And no, it's not public speaking. It's death and failure. They don't want to be perceived as someone who's a loser, as someone who loses things. In fact, that's why public speaking, so many people are afraid of it, is because they're afraid that they might be perceived as someone who's not good enough, not worthy. So I want to eliminate, I'm going to go through those 5 steps of failure. I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. So in the light of that, let's dive into the 5 steps to failure. You might want a pen and paper and travel along with me on this. Going for no it's magical. It really is. When you set the bar at no, suddenly yes is like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. You'll keep going. But if you set the bar at, as soon as I get a yes, as soon as you get a yes, you're going to stop. Who here's done that before? As soon as you got a yes, you're like, oh, cool, success. Celebrate the yes. When you're going for no, I celebrate the no's. If I want 20 no's, I'm going to celebrate those. I might get 6 yeses in between that, right? But I won't stop at that yes. I'll just continue because it's about the no's. Now, at the end of the day, you're allowed to celebrate your successes. Who's been through the mentorship program? No, we celebrate our successes. Yes, we do. We clap, we cheer, we applaud. We're like, yeah, crushed it. But in the moment of the grind, you've got to stay grinding. You got to keep moving. Keep going forward. Keep doing the things that get you to be successful. So the barriers that come up are these 5 fears. So let's identify them. I don't want to be negative. We got to know what they look like to identify them so we can move away from them. Hence, care if you understand that. We're not here to focus and say these are our reality. These are just an awareness that allows us to shift. So the 5 failure levels. First, level 1 is the ability to fail. And what that means is, have you ever failed before? Has anybody here ever failed? Anything in your life? Not something as intense as a marriage, but maybe a test, right? So if you failed, you now have proven to yourself that you potentially could fail, right? In the past, maybe you didn't know, maybe you weren't certain about this. With at least one failure, a couple of failures, you're now okay with it. 100% of people on the planet have the ability to fail. This is good. Give yourselves a round of applause. What keeps most people at level 1 is their intense desire to avoid failure at all costs. As a result, 90% of all people will never get past this level. So if you have gotten to level 1, congratulations, you're human. Let's see if I can get you to level 2, if you've been there before. As we're going through this, some of you may identify that you've been past even level 2. Maybe you've gotten to level 3. Level 2 is the willingness to fail. Remember, 90% of the planet will never get to level 2. Hence, Cameron, if you've gotten to level 2, you've embraced that failure is a part of the process. It's okay. Are you willing to fail? Willing to make mistakes? Excellent. I'm not encouraging it. I'm not encouraging failure. What I'm encouraging is the law of detachment, the willingness to be okay with not getting the exact result you want on the first shot. Now, the result you want is going to happen for you. if you stay in it long enough, if you're willing to fail, if you allow that willingness to occur. Now, the next one, it comes from the second one. You must go through the process. You must have the willingness to fail in order to eventually shift over into the wantingness to fail. Who here, by show of hands, feels that one's a little weird, a little uncomfortable? Like the idea of wanting to fail. It's okay. Getting to level 3 means you've spent some serious time in level 2. Level 3, the wantingness, it means to develop the desire to fail with the inner faith that your personal financial growth will follow. It's not just failing for the sake of failing. It's the belief that you are a growing human being, an entity that is capable of getting to a whole other level. Who here believes that? Who believes that you grow every day, that you have something great inside of you? You can keep moving forward. So this wantingness to fail, well, only 5% will ever get to this level. Ask Karen if you know that you're capable of being that 5%. Hell yeah. Even if you don't want to fail today, I promise you, if you're on this call in this community, you have the ability to fall in love with the idea of learning through failure. There's another way to look at this. And I've heard a lot of successful people say this. I'm never wrong. Who here believes they're never wrong? Right? On some level, you're like, you might believe I'm wrong, but I believe I might be right. The reason successful people are never wrong is because of this. I'm either wrong or I learn, and then I'm right either way. And if you recognize that's more important, right? It's more important. It's not, I don't care if I'm wrong at first. I threw something out there. I might have been the first to say it. I might have been the first to pitch an idea. Cool. I started the game. But at the end of it, I know, leave with the right result. I will absolutely leave the conversation with whatever the highest and best use of my time is after that conversation. And Karen, if you know that's true for you also, you're committed to always leveling up. This is something that successful businesses, business owners, salespeople, entrepreneurs, parents, in shape people recognize. I might have messed up on that call. That might not have been the one. But next time, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to do something that works. And if that doesn't work, well, I'll try something different. Hence, Karen, if you would never give up on your kids learning how to walk, absolutely. Go out there, right? You fail forward. That's another one. Write that down. The wantingness to fail. This belief of failing forward may help. Running, by the way, running. Who has ever run? Seen somebody run? Knows what running looks like? Angular position of running. Running is not a straight situation. It is always one step away from failure. Like if you just chose to hold that foot back, it's a pretty bad situation. Who's experienced that situation? Who's fallen before in mid-run? Yeah, not cool. Not a cool experience. Nothing about it is fun. But in order to run, you must be willing and wanting that exhilaration, that feeling of I might fall. Next one. This next level of fear or failing is where it starts to really open up for you. Failing bigger and faster. Get into that next level of failure. Not just sticking to the small stuff anymore, but paying attention to how big can I fail? And it occurs when people come to the conclusion that if I fail, if failing is good, that failing faster is better. And not just faster, but once I get to that next level, I'm going to increase that level of failure, that failure rate, doing it and going after bigger and bigger goals worthy of the effort. When we talk about our campaigns in Alchemist Connect, we are seeking to fail, right? At some level, I'm expecting that I'm going to send out a text. It's going to piss a few people off. Hence, Karen, if you've ever done something that you knew was probably going to offend a few people, like marketing or something. Same with social media. I'm like, I'm going to put a post out there that I believe is genuinely true, but also might piss a few people off. I target the enmity of broke people. Like if a broke person who never wants to change their life, like poor mindset folk, I target that enmity. I'm like, hate me, go ahead. Because I'm looking for the love and admiration of people who want to change their lives. I'm looking for the loyalty of somebody who's building their business, who's determined to help people, who's determined to serve on a bigger level. And I know that poor people are selfish. Now I know this, some of you probably know these poor people and some of them may be on this call, but here's what I mean when I say selfish. They're focused on themselves. Just enough money to get by, just enough to be comfortable. They're not paying to charities. They don't have any money to pay for charities. So they're not thinking about making extra. If they had extra money, they wouldn't give it to a charity. They'd save it so they didn't have to go to work the next day. Who knows these people? Seen these people? Maybe related to some of these people? That pain, that experience of people not being happy with you, the faster you can get to more of that, the more education you get. It's like taking a whole bunch of courses, seeing what doesn't work. With our text message campaigns, we'll send a blast out. We'll just shoot it out, see if it works. If it doesn't hit, cool. We'll try another one. We'll try another one. We'll try another one. And as they fail, we're looking at the characteristics of the things that failed and the characteristics of the things that didn't fail. Something out of 10 texts is going to work. This is the mecca of failing. This is failing on an epic scale. This is failing so big, so grand that it's remembered for a long period of time behind you. Level 5 is failing exponentially. The idea behind this is that just like the compound effect, you started this eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. So failing exponentially, this level is for those rare individuals who understand that massive success requires multiplication of effort. Those people enlist others to fail with them, knowing that if one individual failure means individual success, then group failure means equal group success. Hence, if you've ever been a part of something where it was, a group effort and you failed, right? It was like, hey, but we all failed together. We all collaborated. We learned something bigger. I'd say Alchemist Nation is one of those. Who here is a real estate investor? Real estate investor slamming deals? Hell yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. Real estate's a hell of a vehicle to get rich, which is why we have an unfair advantage. We're always looking for unfair advantages in building wealth. Who here is excited about becoming a millionaire? Focused on becoming a millionaire? Excellent. Excellent. Who here knows that once they are a millionaire, they'll join the mission, build 100 millionaires? Hands to camera if you know you're a part of that. That is a group effort, right? Building millionaires is a random thing. At first it seemed like that anyway, but as we started going, we started realizing there's actually a process to this. There's an insane, simple process to building millionaires. Who's noticed that we've got it down pretty damn good? Who here has increased their income or net worth since hanging out with us? Hands to the camera if you've increased income or net worth. Excellent. Or become financially free. Who's gotten financially free, been able to quit their job, and now they're doing something they love? Hands to the camera if you're doing something you love. Awesome. This process is actually documentable, and it's not about information. I mean, information's important. Who believes, knowledge is power? You do need some information. Here's what I found. Knowledge creates procrastination. Information creates analysis paralysis, which is especially suspect for people who are in the investment arena. So analysis paralysis is something that we're prone to as investors. So I realized that too much knowledge. I was given all these courses and coaching programs and doing books and blogs, and too much knowledge was not getting people to take action. It was getting people to come hang out, but it wasn't getting them to take action. What we shifted to was meeting in person and doing live calls like this and networking and doing breakout rooms. And once there was a community, people started taking action. Who here knows you do a little better when you know somebody else is keeping an eye on you, when somebody else might be watching what you're doing? And how about this? Who knows you do a little better knowing somebody's got your back? Does anybody feel that? Like, you're doing a little better. Like, if I needed it, there's somebody out there who's got it. There's something about tribe and community that actually moves people forward. Now, here's the struggle. I, by claim, am an introvert. So this idea of tribe was not natural to me. I built my business in a lot of ways by avoiding people. Right. That's why I got into investing. The idea was, how do I build investments how do I build a business and income stream without having to talk to anybody? But I had to learn social skills. All the rich people say communication is key. So as I went through the process, I started realizing that if I wanted to build millionaires, I'd have to get them together. I'd have to get these people together in a group. 52 weeks to wealth is a process. One very interesting thing that I didn't expect when we started doing live events was that when we got everybody together, they increased just exponentially. When people are in the room, there's some sort of energetic exchange that 10x's, Grant Cardone will 10x's the opportunity for somebody to be successful. Who here has met with other people in this community before? And see if you've met with other people in a group setting. Isn't it powerful? There's something about it. You just feel like there's an opportunity in every direction. There's something that you could leverage and use. This thing has action, right? It does have action. It has education, it has networking, it has celebrities, because everybody likes a good celebrity. We've got Mitch Dorsky right there, the crypto cat. So we will talk a little bit about crypto and real estate. Ryan McDermott, Vinny Chopra, billionaire. We've got Chris Naugle, has over 1 million followers. Liz Faircloth built the Invest Her community. She's going to be on stage talking about how to build teams. Sam Prim has built a 2 million person following. He owns over $40 million worth of real estate, all single family homes. Darina, obviously the queen of follow-up. Also, I'd like to say like a mother to this community. Doug McGurk's going to teach you how to talk better. Mike Shine's going to teach you how to partner. And then Heidi is going to talk about something very special, self-sabotage. And then Mitch Durfee is going to be talking about credit, business credit. And then Dr. Terry Wager. Dr. Terry is going to be talking about goal setting. Did you know that it's impossible to hit a goal if you don't have one? Anybody know that? Absolutely impossible. And here's what's interesting. Every goal you set, if you stick to it, you will hit. There's two options I'm going to talk about, because most of you are in the Recession Proof Challenge, already have a general ticket. To upgrade to VIP, you get an extra day with me. Thursday, we're going to be talking about team building, culture, scaling, and outsourcing, hiring other people. We're going to have dinner with all the coaches. Here's what makes it amazing. One of them's the billionaire. One of them will be Vinny Chopra having dinner with us. Who knows they want to have dinner with Vinny Chopra? Me too. I'm very much looking forward to this. So the VIP tickets have access to an extra day. They're getting lunch on Friday or Saturday. We're going to be talking about everything in advance of getting into the summit that you're going to need when you're in the summit to be finding your partners and your team members. At the 100 Millionaire Summit on Thursday, we're going to line them up so that they can be hunting for their team members, so that they know exactly who to look for, what they're looking for, and how to find them. By the way, there's only 30 tickets for the VIPs, and I've already sold out half. Just so, like, a full disclosure, these will sell quick, and there's only 15 left. For the executives, you get to sit right behind the VIPs exclusively. Now I'm going to move people around the room, but I will not move people vertically, only horizontally. If you're in the executive area, you stay in the executive area. If you're in the VIP area, you're staying in the VIP area. If you're in the general, you're staying in the general. The difference is how close to those players can you get? How close in proximity can you get to the players, to the splash zone, to the people who are making moves? Because all they're looking for could be what you've got, because they've definitely got the money. They've definitely got the systems in place. They may be looking for that deal finder, or they may be looking for somebody to do the work for them. So have a conversation with Darina or Amy. If you've already got tickets to the summit, have a conversation with them about upgrading your tickets. And then if you're bringing somebody, here's a strategy to bring people. Bring people you want to partner with. You can hang out with them afterwards, right? You can tell them about things. You want people who are going to stay focused on task. You want hungry people who are motivated, who have a reason to be there. You may have real estate agents that you need on your team. You may have wholesalers you need on your team. You may have lenders you need on your team, private investors who are thinking about learning about real estate. This is the perfect event for them to be in the room next to you and then find out that you're the player, because that's how I'm going to present every one of my alchemists at the summit. You're an alchemist. If you're in this event and you brought somebody, you're a player. You know what you're talking about. You've been through my programs. You've been through Buy Real Estate to Cash Flow and Get Rich. You know how to make people money. So bring your investors, because I'm going to be celebrating you guys. This is an opportunity. You don't have to run your own event. I'm going to run it for you and make you look like a celebrity. Our millionaires, the people we've built over the last 3 years building millionaires, there is an award you're going to be getting. So dress nice on day 2. On Saturday, please dress appropriately, because you will be on stage. I will have my camera crews making sure they're catching your video walk on stage. They'll be catching your pictures on stage. So you'll be able to say, I received an award for being a millionaire from this community, which is pretty badass validation if you ever decide to do deals with other people, if you're looking for partners, if you ever become a coach or a speaker. Perception is everything. So the 100 Millionaire Summit is October 21st to the 23rd. It is an exciting event. It is an important event. And time is valuable. What I've discovered is I can get a lot out of a person in a short period of time if I'm efficient with that time. And so on Friday, we're starting at 8 o'clock. Registration is the night before. Register the night before, because you want to be there before 8 o'clock to do a little bit of networking, to get the best position in your seating arena. The closest to stage gets seen by the mostest of people. So there's a system to all of this. At 8 o'clock, we start sharp. There is no messing around. I literally start at 8 o'clock, because by 8:07, I've got something else going on. Every single minute at the summit counts. If you miss it, you'll miss it, and you'll regret it, because every single minute is super cool. At around 11 o'clock at night, we'll still be going. Who here found some amazing people in the room? Who did some great networking? Found some great opportunities? I know some millionaire partnerships were created. Multi-million-dollar deals were created for people who had never met each other before, came together at the event and have done big deals together. Big deals, small deals, partnered with people. So many opportunities. The 100 Millionaire Summit this year is something to use and leverage as a tool. Bring your team with you. You bring your spouse or your business partner with you. So key component is get people on board with each other. Go to 100mmsummit.com. If you haven't registered your tickets, this is for everybody who's out in the social media realm. Click the link in the bio and go get your tickets today. Register now, take action, because successful people take action. For everybody who's already going, give yourselves a round of applause. There's plenty of room at the top. I will see you at the summit. Who would like to give a review of the book, Go for No? Who's interested in jumping on and saying a little bit about the book, how it was for you, the reading of it process? Anybody? All right, no worries. I'll run it. It's cool. Mike Shine is driving, by the way. Go for No. If you haven't read it, this is a great book because it's short, it's small, it's simple, and he does go a little deeper into those 5 steps of failure, but then he talks about how to get past them, how to get to the other side of it. He also has a great story in this. This is not like a book with a bunch of information and a guy saying, do this, do that. It's about a guy who bumps his head on the golf course. He bumped his head. He was a failure, right? Complete failure in sales. Bumps his head on the golf course, wakes up a killer in sales, wakes up a champion. He's living like a whole alternate reality. And he's walking through and he's realizing I'm one of the richest guys in my city. I've gone through all of he's like, this can't be mine, but oh no, it's mine. Yeah, this is yours. This is your house, this is your wife. And everything about his life is better. And he starts trying to do this math. He's like, what was it that I changed? Like, what is it about? Why is this life so much better? And he starts doing some research in this alternate reality he's in, this dream he's in. And he starts discovering it's because he found this one principle to not stop at the yes, but to keep going for the next no. He set a calculated amount of no's, and he would teach this to his sales team. And this was the life that he lived. He would always go for no. And that was what created every opportunity. And the story unfolds. He starts realizing that opportunity was because somebody said no to him, and then no to him, and no to him. And then eventually enough yeses happened. When he comes back, he wakes up, he's, on the golf course, wakes up, bumped his head. He changes his entire life and makes a commitment to go for no instead of going for yes. Dr. Terry Wager, I've got to ask you some questions about setting goals and what you will be talking about at the 100 Millionaire Summit. So without going into the exercise, Terry, just tell us a little bit about what we're going to get from it. Why should we set goals?
You can't go anywhere if you don't set goals. How many people have ever gone to the grocery store? How many people decided to go to the grocery store before you got in the car? Now, a great question is, how many people ended up getting to the place you were trying to go if you didn't decide where you were going? But the reality is, if you don't have a place you're going, it's very difficult to get there. And it's very difficult to have benchmarks to get there. It's very difficult to measure your progress or measure your time. It's really difficult to do anything in life without goals. And so when we're thinking about building a business, right there, the first thing you do is, I want to build a business. That's a goal. It might be a desire, and most goals, by the way, are desires. But then it becomes something that you really want to actually do. It starts to have a life of its own and parameters that need to be really looked at. And if you're not doing it intentionally, you're unintentionally going to have consequences or unintentional consequences. And so, bumps in the road, trash on the track, all of those things we talk about that really get in the way of your journey to the grocery store, so to speak. So you want to be able to really identify what the goal is, what the stops along the way are, and how to get there. When you start developing the goal, you'll also start identifying what kind of process that you need that Walter talks about all the time. You're going to think about what software you need to be able to do it. You're going to think about who's going to be on your team. And one of the things that Christine and I do very well is help companies build their teams to hit their goals. Everything we do is focused on the result you want. And if you're not focused on your results, you're not focused at all.
So Terry, one of the things that I see from people is as they're say working with a coach or they're working with us, their goals change. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that somebody, and by the way, by a show of hands, has anybody ever changed their goals before or could imagine, create the illusion that somebody else might change their goals? Why do people do that, Terry?
Well, there's many reasons. The reason I like the best that people are changing their goals is because they've met them. And that is an awesome reason to change your goals. But unfortunately, most of the time, people change their goals because they're actually changing their goal because their behavior isn't playing out the way they want to actually meet the goal. So what they do is they reduce their goal or they modify it in some way. The other thing people do is, that shiny object syndrome that we talk about all the time. It's a fear-based bounce. I've said this for years, is shiny object is a really good way to make ourselves feel better about running from goals. And, I'm a little controversial, a little in your face, but the fact of the matter is anybody that's getting distracted from their goals, they're afraid of their goal and they're afraid they're not going to make it. So they change it and they go to do a new thing that they think is going to be easier. The beginning of something is always easier than getting in the trench and keeping going. It's always easy to start something, but it's not as easy to finish.
Let's open up to questions. Thurman, I see you, brother.
At what point do you like look at it and think about the winning aspect of it, if that makes sense?
When you wake up in the morning, right? So every day you set your goals to win. So those failure goals are based on what it takes to win. So if I know in real estate investing, I know I'm going to have to call 100 people. I'm going to cold call 100 people to book one appointment. And it's going to take 10 appointments for somebody to sell me their house at a discount. That means I'm calling 1,000 people and I'm looking for the opportunity for all of those people to say no, except for the 10 people who book an appointment. And then at those 10 appointments, I'm looking for 9 no's, because that ninth no is going to lead, the 10th no is going to be a yes, or the ninth no leads to the 10th yes. And sometimes, Thurman, I'm setting the goal of I'm going to go on 20. I'm looking for 18 no's, because 19th and the 20th call could be 2 yeses. Does that make sense? So we set the goals, like our income goals, our wealth goals are based on no's. How many no's do I have to get to in order to get to that yes? And it's essentially, you've heard this before. I know you've heard this one. It's a numbers game, right? If you talk to enough people, you're going to get what you're looking for. Going for no is what allows you to talk to enough people to get what you're looking for.
The way I think about it is it useful? And when we're looking at failure, failure is kind of like negative. It doesn't really exist. It's just something that pops out to say you got to do something different. But what we do, oh my God, I failed. You didn't fail. You're just not actually doing something you need to do to create the reaching of the goal that you want. And most of the time, what it is to keep going. And people don't like to keep going. They like to avoid failure because it's negative and they don't like the feeling. And the reality is they're not in a useful state of mind in that place. They're not in a useful emotional place. And so if you really look at anything that's not working the way you want it to, examine what's not working and then change that piece and move forward towards your goal. It's a very simple process. And the reality is there is no failure until you actually quit trying. If you quit trying, you failed. But if you keep going, you go.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, when I was running my team in corporate, we talk about failing fast and failing forward and the cost of not doing so. And in the corporate world, when you have some egotistic CEO, they don't want to fail, it ends up costing like 4 or 5 times more money, millions we're talking about. And so this concept holds true. I have a question for Dr. Terry. To me, it's all about self-reflection and how you go about the process of asking the right questions about yourself, learning from that experience to give you that focus to say, okay, I understand now what do I do? So give us like maybe something simple that we can just like, hey, this is, you guys can process this is bite-sized.
Yeah, the simplest that I have for you is, how am I wrong? Because we go into a situation with a preconceived notion that we're right about what we're looking at. We told ourselves we're looking at it the way we see it, it's this way. And so we walked in an invulnerable place, guarded, paying attention to what's going on. So we're walking in guarded. And so no matter what the situation is, what's going to happen? If we have that thought, we're already wrong because we're walking in guarded. We got to go, okay, how am I wrong about that? And how can I be vulnerable? The number one issue that everybody has is guarded versus vulnerable. We walk in guarded when we should be vulnerable. And the funny thing is our head tells us we are vulnerable, but we're not. We're actually guarded.
So everything that you're doing with us, I thank you. I've heard this before. Every one of you is an investor in this mission. Anytime you invest your time with us, anytime you're investing your money with us, we're taking that time, that resource, that knowledge, that information, we're rolling it right into everything that we're doing here. So from the bottom of my heart, I am absolutely thankful to every single one of you, everything you're doing for your business, for your success, for this community. I appreciate you. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. I always work with the best.